ARCHDRUID'S Charm from Murders at Karlov Manor is a gigantic upgrade for Pioneer Lotus Field Combo. Not only does it find Lotus Field, it also finds Lier, Disciple of the Drowned, or Fae of Wishes. Let's go check out today's deck list. This is the deck list that we'll be playing today, and while it's changed it a little bit, if you watched my recent videos, you would have seen that Chandra was the win condition in the main deck. Today that's changed, it has become a Fae of Wishes. Well, why is that? In the intro, I talked about how we're now playing ARCHDRUID'S Charm. Well, in order to understand why you would play Fae of Wishes, you have to know what this card does. So it's a green, 3 mana for an instant. And the first mode is you could search your library for a creature or a land. If it's a land, you put it onto the battlefield tapped. Okay, so you could search your library for Fae of Wishes, which is a little bit better just because you can't search for a Chandra Hope's Beacon. So what you can do is search for the Fae of Wishes and then go get your Chandra. And a lot of other lists are playing Approach of the Second Sun, but Approach doesn't offer you any utility. It just wins the game. Chandra wins the game while also killing things like Sheoldred. So my personal opinion, Chandra is better than Approach. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, the second mode of ARCHDRUID'S Charm is that you can put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control, and then you can have that creature fight another creature. Okay, so you get a little bit of utility in killing things like Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, with your Arboreal Grazers. I love that. The third mode, you get to exile an artifact or enchantment, like Damping Sphere, for example, and I think that's a huge upgrade for this deck. You now have 7 built-in ways between Boseiju and ARCHDRUID'S Charm to answer Damping Sphere or Deafening Silence or whatever. So I like that a lot. And a lot of lists are cutting Impulse, I'll say. They're going down to 2 copies, and instead they're adding a land to help support ARCHDRUID'S Charm. I'm not doing that today. Instead, I'm just going to play the 4 copies of Impulse because I really value consistency. And I'm only playing 2 copies of Emergent Ultimatum because you can Fae of Wishes for 1 out of the sideboard. And now, with the way that the deck is built, if you have Omniscience in play and they give you Fae of Wishes, you can just go get another Ultimatum. So that's another really nice aspect here as well. So that's really the only change. If you're interested in why I'm not playing Surveil lands, well, I think that they kind of don't make sense in this strategy. It's one of the few decks in all of Magic where I don't like the Surveil lands, and instead I'm still playing the Temples of Mystery. So the way that this deck works is that you have silver bullets that you need to find off of Emergent Ultimatum, such as your Omniscience. If you surveil away Omniscience, your deck gets a lot worse. So instead, I'm choosing to play the Temple still. There are people out there experimenting with the Surveil lands. I just don't think that it's the correct choice. Another positive upgrade for this strategy was a Krenko's Buzz Crusher on the sideboard. If you're unfamiliar, it's a 4-mana 4/4 with Flying and Trample. And when it enters the battlefield, you get to choose an opponent and then destroy non-basics. It doesn't target those non-basics, which means that in the mirror match, you can destroy copies of Lotus Field. I have a feeling that more of my Lotus Fields will be destroyed than me destroying Lotus Fields, but it's an option that we have access to that we can search for with this ARCHDRUID'S Charm, which is why we're also playing Dromoka in the sideboard, even though traditionally I'm not a huge fan of this card, and Zacama's back. We can go back to the Zacama control plan, but just because we have 4 tutors for the Singleton Zacama. And, that's all I've got. So if you're interested in more, stick around and watch the rest of the video. And if I don't answer your questions, leave a comment down below. But for now, I would like to hop on into the first match. I'm sure I'll see you there. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicsforum.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicsforum.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to match number 1. We are on the play. Alright, this looks good. We have the classic Arboreal Grazer into Temple opening. And then we have ARCHDRUID'S Charm that can go get our Thespian stage since we already have Lotus Field. Impulse is there to find our payoff spells. Alright, so we'll lead on the basic forest, play the Arboreal Grazer, and then we'll put Temple of Mystery onto the battlefield, get that Scry trigger. Another Lotus Field, that can go to the graveyard. I'm sorry, this isn't a Surveil land. This is a Scry land, so it goes on the bottom of our deck. Even I'm forgetting. I've been playing so many of the Surveil lands in other formats. Seachrome Coast, okay. And we found the stage. Very good for us. Let's play Impulse. Another Archdruid's Charm, another Sylvan Scrying, or another Arboreal Grazer. I'm going to choose to take the Charm. We'll put Lotus Field onto the table. I have a feeling that our opponent's playing Spirits, just because I haven't seen too many of the control decks with Seachrome Coast in it. It could also just be the mirror match, except they're playing white for the Strict Proctor. But my gut tells me Spirits. Another Coast. Sure. A Boseiju Who Endures. I'm just going to copy my land immediately in case there is a Field of Ruin in the future. Pass. Still no plays from the opponent. Okay, so they are on Lotus Field Combo. They could also just be on the control version, but I don't think that's the case. I think that they're on the Strict Proctor build. Hidden Strings. I'm going to Bala Ged Recovery, getting back an Impulse. So now I can pass the turn while holding open Boseiju, and if they don't do anything, I can also just go find Lier on the end step. Or even Fae of Wishes into Emergent Ultimatum. They copy a Seachrome Coast. They play an Impulse. Okay. So it is the mirror match. I think I'm just going to Impulse here. We find the Ultimatum, perfect. And a Vizier. Okay, Hidden Strings, untap our lands. Yes, yes, no. Tap here for black. We'll cycle Vizier. Untap the land. Draw. Fae of Wishes, okay. We'll play the Emergent Ultimatum. Omniscience. Lier. And Dark Petition. Opponent concedes, nice. Alright, so the Strict Proctor build is really good against Amalia combo. But in general, I think that the mana's a lot worse. And, well, your Strict Proctor dying is pretty bad. So in the mirror match, I have these Voyaging Satyrs so we can increase speed. And unfortunately, we're boarding out Impulse. That's just the card that needs to go when you're trying to be fast. Alright, and then you have a Krenko's Buzz Crusher that can also come in. So that way you can find it with the ARCHDRUID'S Charm. You might be wondering about Silence. I used to board in Silence in the mirror match, and I found that it's really good after you've already assembled your Lotus Field combo, but if you're already assembling Lotus Field combo, I feel like you have this. It's really good on the turns that you can copy stage and hold open Silence, but now with the Buzz Crusher, I don't know if that plan is nearly as good. So I'm actually not going to board in Silence because there's nothing else I want to take out. I like every card in my deck. And well, you could just be saying like, oh, well, Silence is good, you should bring it in. What am I taking out? Every single card is good. You don't want to be boarding out Arboreal Grazers. This hand is the nuts. So we'll keep. This could be a turn 3 win, depending on what our draw step is. We have a couple draw steps, but we have turn 2 Voyaging Satyr into turn 3 Lotus Field with Hidden Strings. They have these Spara's Headquarters. I'm going to keep the Bala Ged Recovery now, because we drew another land. So Bala Ged Recovery with Hidden Strings and two Lotus Field effects is always +1 mana. So I might be able to hardcast Omniscience on turn 3. They Sylvan Scrying, you got it. We just need to find a payoff here. Emergent Ultimatum, let's see it. Adawara. We'll play a Voyaging Satyr. Pass the turn. They have Lotus Field, okay. Come on, deck, give me something to do here. Turn 3 win. Vizier, okay, so we'll float some mana. We'll play the Lotus Field. Sacrifice our 2 lands. We will now cycle Vizier. Please, deck, give me something good here. Dark Petition, we have so many hits. We find Stage. I'm going to Bala Ged Recovery, back the Vizier. And we'll untap Lotus Field. Float some mana here. Let's cycle the Vizier again. Untap Lotus Field. Draw. Okay, so that gets Lier. Let's think about this for a second. I can Hidden Strings right now. That would bring me up to 7 mana. ARCHDRUID'S Charm for Lier is an 8 mana line. I could Bala Ged Recovery back the Hidden Strings, and that way next turn I untap with Lier in play. Or I could ARCHDRUID'S Charm for the Krenko's Buzz Crusher and destroy their Lotus Field. I think that works. Yes, yes, and yes, I want to Cipher. We can Cipher onto the Voyaging Satyr. Okay. So I can get Lier attack No, Lier's bad because I ciphered. So let's get the Krenko's Bug Crusher. Just trying to make sure I don't mess up here. So I attack with the Voyaging Satyr, Hidden Strings triggers. I untap those two. So I get 1 point of damage in. Okay, so we'll go to combat, attack. We'll now cast Hidden Strings, untapping the Voyaging Satyr and the Lotus Field. Yes, yes. Post combat, we'll make red. Untap the Lotus Field. Tap the Lotus Field again. Krenko's Buzz Crusher. Destroy their Lotus Field. You do not want to target your own, let me tell you. Pass the turn. Well, as a singleton, the Buzz Crusher is already carrying its weight. They play a Mana Confluence and a Sylvan Scrying. They pick up another copy of Lotus Field, okay. Pore over the pages. We'll copy our Lotus Field. Now we'll go to combat and attack for 5. Swing, swing. Voyaging Satyr will now untap both of our lands. Target 1, target 2. Yes, yes. And now I can pore over the pages, floating 1 mana. So we'll have 7, but not 7 mana that casts Emergent Ultimatum. We did find the Ultimatum here. We will discard the Vizier, float more blue mana. We'll then cycle Vizier, untap the Lotus Field. And now I do have the Ultimatum mana. Oh, well, now I can just do everything. Alright, we got lucky and found Hidden Strings. Yes, yes, no. Hardcast the Omniscience. And then Emergent Ultimatum. We'll get Lier, Dark Petition, and Fae of Wishes. We'll do Lier first and then Dark Petition so it resolves first. And that's the match. Sweet, we're officially 1-0 in this Pioneer League. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Round number 2, we're on the play. Love winning die rolls in this format. Okay, so we have Sanctum to go find Lotus Field, and then we have ARCHDRUID'S Charms to find more copies of Thespian Stage. This is probably a keep. We'll play that Botanical Sanctum and pass the turn. A Blooming Marsh, okay. Could be Amalia combo. Another Sanctum. Okay, let's go get our Lotus Field. Now we don't need to cast ARCHDRUID'S Charms for the Lotus Field. These can be saved for something else. Pass that turn. Okay, it does look like Amalia combo, and there she is. That was a very good draw for us. We'll play the Fae of Wishes. So interestingly enough, the Cypher mode here is going to be very good. Pass the turn. I can even use the ARCHDRUID'S Charm to kill the Amalia next turn, because Fae of Wishes has 1 power. Uh-oh. They just have the whole combo on turn 3. Yikes. Okay. Well, that's not going to happen anymore. And they're going to kill my Fae of Wishes. I'm in trouble. Actually, am I just dead? Yeah, I'm just dead. The Amalia clears the way for blockers and then swings for lethal. Wow. Good start. Okay. So we want Voyaging Satyr. It's a speed-based matchup. Impulse can get sided out. And then Path of Peril tends to be pretty good against them. It's another great target off of Dark Petition. So I think those are what we want to do here. Some lists play like 4 Thoughtseize in the board. I don't think it's worth boarding in Leyline just for, that. This hand needed 1 more land. We have to mulligan. I mean, this hand plays, it's just very slow. We'll keep it and bottom the breeding pool. Turn 1 Temple. We find the stage. So that's fine. My issue is here is that our hand is looking like a turn 4. Is that going to be good enough? They have the first turn Luminarch Veteran. We'll play the Botanical Sanctum, pass the turn. Actually, this might not even be a turn 4. So turn 4 is going to be copy Thespian Stage. I'd have to find another Hidden Strings or a Vizier in order to even play Pore the pages on turn 4. Alright, so no turn 2 play is good for us. There's the Vizier. So it looks like we can play Pore the pages on turn 4 now. Land number 3. They attack. Beseiju. So I could try to copy right now. Our opponent's been holding open mana. So I am not thrilled with the idea of trying to copy in my main phase. I'm going to just pass. They found Thoughtseize. It's brutal. I'm going to copy in response. Do you have the Beseiju? They don't. Okay, so I guess I missed a window on my turn to cast the Pore, but it looked like that they were holding open 2 mana for Beseiju there. Okay, they have 5 in hand. Voyaging Satyr. I guess we'll just cycle the Vizier here. Untap the Lotus Field. Draw off the Vizier. It's another Voyaging Satyr. That's unfortunate. Okay, so I can play Beseiju, and then I guess we'll play a pair of Voyaging Satyrs. Mana is no longer the problem. We just need to find a card that has text on it. A Prosperous Innkeeper. Overgrown Tomb. They still have 4 cards, but they're not really doing much. So ARCHDRUID'S Charm gets Lier. Good draw. It also gets Fae of Wishes. Fae of Wishes gives me Emergent Ultimatum. So we'll play the Charm. Grab Fae of Wishes. Hidden Strings, untap. Yes, yes, no. And I will now cast Granted. We'll grab Emergent Ultimatum. Tap for blue. Untap the Lotus Field. Untap Lotus Field. Black. Green. Play the Emergent Ultimatum. That game was a little bit messy, but we got there. Now it's game 3 on the draw. I think I'm just going to resubmit. This seems reasonable. I mean, I don't have a Lotus Field, but I do have double Scryland. I'm going to keep it. The Voyaging Satyr for speed is just so important. From one Thoughtseize. Interesting to see if they take the Voyaging Satyr or not. This hand actually has a couple pretty good picks. Voyaging Satyr would be number 1 in my opinion. Number 2 would be Pore Over Pages. Number 3 would be the Lier, Disciple of the Drowned. Path of Peril. Okay, we get our scry action on. Don't need another Thespian stage. That can go to the bottom of the deck. Pass the turn. Beseiju and Prosperous Innkeeper. We draw our own Beseiju. We'll play the Thespian stage. Let's play Voyaging Satyr. Pass the turn. There's Amalia. They find a Court of Calling. So next turn they could have lethal. No, they bin the Court of Calling. Interesting. A little afraid of that. Emergent Ultimatum. Let's play the Temple. We don't find Lotus Field. Cycle the Vizier. Untap a Temple of Mystery. We draw another Beseiju. We have to pass here. I could just be dead. There it is. And our Beseijus do not interact here. We had a couple draw steps plus a few looks to find Lotus Field. We just never found it. We had 4 Sylvan Scrying, 4 Lotus Field, 4 ARCHDRUID'S Charm. I'm not going to make them click through all of this. We can just go to match number 3. Unfortunately, we lost. We're 1-1. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Token Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $14.99. This combo token pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens. That includes our classic Storm and mana tokens as well as fan favorites such as Goblins, Squirrels, and Slime Time Live. But that's not all. We've expanded this token pack to cover a variety of formats with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. Alright, let's try to bounce back after that tough loss. We're on the play for the 3rd match. Sure, we'll keep. This is not a first turn grazer. We have to play the Bala Ged on turn 1, and then turn 2 we can put the extra land into play. Alright, so Bala Ged passed the turn. Steam Vents. Into Sleight of Hand, so likely Izzet Phoenix. We draw for turn, and it's another copy of Hidden Strings, not the worst. We'll play the Arboreal Grazer, which puts Lotus Field onto the battlefield. And then next turn we can Sylvan Scrying for another Thespian stage. They play a basic island into Ledger Shredder. Emergent Ultimatum was a great draw. We'll cast a Sylvan Scrying. Go grab the Thespian stage, we'll play it. And then we will play another copy of Sylvan Scrying. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Admittedly, I forgot about the Ledger Shredder trigger. I was just thinking that it was kind of free as a land drop for next turn. Might have been a punt. Because the way that it works is, if I get a land off of this Sylvan Scrying, next turn I have more options. So, for example, having the land to put into play means that when I copy Lotus Field, I'll already have 2 mana, which means that Hidden Strings, I don't have to Hidden Strings into Hidden Strings just to untap my Thespian stage. So having this extra land it makes your combo turn so much better. So I'm not even sure if this is a punt as much as it is just me forgetting about the Ledger Shredder trigger, because I think if I had remembered, I'd probably still make this play. They play a path, sure. Wow, main deck Ashiok. Well, I'm glad that I got Otawara. They exile a Dark Petition and the other Ultimatum, that's fine. You draw for turn, it's another Dark Petition. So we need to just copy here and then pass the turn. Main deck Ashiok, that is not one that I saw when I was looking at lists. Because I did do some studying on the Pro Tour list before recording this video, but I did not see this. They Ashiok again. They hit my Fae of Wishes. So the only way I can win this game now is Lair of the Hydra. They play Otawara for turn. They attack. No blocks, I'll go to 18. They're leaving open mana, so I might just pass here. Because I don't want to lose to like a Spell Pierce or something, so I think I'm just going to pass and let them Ashiok me again. But if they hit the Lair of the Hydra, I lose. I'm willing to accept that. Alright, well, I guess I'll make you tap some mana if I'm going to try to win on my next turn anyway. They Fiery Impulse the Grazer, sure. They play a tap land, and Ashiok. They did not hit the Lair of the Hydra. We will Otawara the Ashiok. You draw Botanical Sanctum. I can play the Sanctum even though I'm winning with Lair of the Hydra because our Lotus Field can act as Lair of the Hydra. Well, I mean, our stage can at least. Hidden Strings. Yes, yes, no. Blue-green. Hidden Strings again. The Ledger Shredder does get to trigger. Okay. And now we'll play Emergent Ultimatum. We'll grab Omniscience, Lier, and a Pore over the pages. They give me Omniscience and Lier. Okay. We'll put Lier on the stack first so that way it resolves last. Sweet. Let's now cast Dark Petition because we get 3 black from having 2 instants for sorceries in the graveyard. We'll grab Pore over the pages. Let's cast it. Untap, untap. Discard a spare land. Play an impulse. Take another impulse. Cast that impulse. ARCHDRUID'S Charm. Let's search for a creature land. Actually, hold on. I can play it for free. We'll grab a Vizier. I can always just grab the Hydra later and then put it into play off of Grazer. I don't need to do it off of the Charm. Bala Ged Recovery. Let's cast it for free. I'll get back Pore over the pages. Make some more mana. Okay, discard another Botanical Sanctum. We're just trying to generate as much mana as possible before winning with Lair of the Hydra. 21 cards left in our deck. Get rid of the Boseiju. Sylvan Scrying, we can go grab the Lair of the Hydra. Let's play the Arboreal Grazer. We'll put Lair of the Hydra into play. And then let's search our deck again, I guess. Go grab another Vizier. Let's cycle the Vizier. Untap the Thespian stage, that's a Lotus Field. And now we'll copy the Lair of the Hydra. Use Hidden Strings to untap it. And I guess we'll untap the other Lair of the Hydra too, why not? And then we'll animate the Lair of the Hydra. So you might be wondering why I went back to adding in Lair of the Hydra. It wasn't an accident. It's really twofold. So one, having a land that wins the game when you're playing ARCHDRUID'S Charm is very good. And I don't regret cutting it in the previous video. I think it was probably right at the time. But now you have the ARCHDRUID'S Charm, but then there's a secondary effect of that Niv Delight, the deck that plays main deck Cranial Extraction effects, came back into the metagame. So having 2 win conditions is pretty valuable. Okay, so we're facing Phoenix. I don't really like Grazer much in this matchup, so I'm fine just boarding all 4 of those out. I do like Dragonlord Dramoka, and then boarding in Silence. Once again, having the Dramoka defined with your ARCHDRUID'S Charm just goes a long way. Good hand, we will keep. Spirebluff Canal, and passes the turn. We find Dark Petition, we'll play the Sanctum, pass. And step they play an Opt. Spirebluff Canal. We draw for turn, it's a Bala Ged Recovery. I'm going to play the Recovery now and keep the Botanical Sanctum, because on turn 4, this is an untapped land where I can cycle Vizier and Pore over the pages. They free the Fae, milling over a Phoenix, Spellpierce, Ledger Shredder, and a land. They get the Spellpierce back. Land number 3. And it looks like no Ashiok for now. Refined Stage. Good draw. I think I'm just going to play the Lotus Field, though. Pass the turn. End step, they consider. They main phase opt, putting 1 card on top here. And then a consider. So it looks like they're trying to get their Phoenix back. And another opt. So Arclight Phoenix will come back. They have the land here. That gives them Spellpierce back up. They swing for 3. This deck is truly like the Delver of Secrets strategy of Pioneer. We draw another copy of Thespian Stage. I'm just going to copy here and pass the turn. You might be saying, why copy on your own turn? It's kind of free, just to avoid... I mean, it's not a played card, but something like, I don't know, Field of Ruin. And holding open the Silence on their turn when I know they have a Spellpierce doesn't make a whole lot of sense. They attack with the Phoenix. I'm at 14. They Treasure Cruise. They're up to 8 cards in hand. They're in their cleanup step and they discard a Sleight of Hand. I'm going to play Thespian Stage. We'll tap for white. And let's play a Silence. They free the Fae in response. Okay, so they pick up Consider. I'm going to pay for Spellpierce. And it looks like our Silence has resolved. I can now cycle the Vizier, untapping Lotus Field. One of the nice things about Silence over something like Mystical Dispute is I got to play this proactively. You can't Mystical Dispute it. I think it's just really good, if I'm being honest. So that's why I play it. Discard the Sanctum. That could have been a little bit better of a Pore over the pages, but I'm not going to complain. Pore over the pages again. Refine Dragonlord Dramoka. Discard an extra Lotus Field. We've already played our land for the turn. We have 7 mana. So I can Dark Petition for a Hidden Strings here. I think that's probably the play. And now we'll untap. Yes, yes, no. So now we have 9 mana. And Archdruid's Charm for Lier is an 8 mana line, so you'd have 1 mana floating. So what we do is we Bala Ged Recovery, back the Hidden Strings. And now we'll tap for blue. Actually, do I tap for green? I think it's actually better to tap for green here. And then we'll Hidden Strings. Because this way you end up with 1 less green mana overall. And now we'll go grab our Lier, which is protected from something like a Lightning Axe, by the way, because we played Silence. Sweet. Hidden Strings. Untap, untap. When you're ciphering from the graveyard, or flashing back from the graveyard, it's free to cipher onto your Lier. Like, it's not going back to the graveyard anyway. And now we can Pore over the pages. Untap, untap. Discard Sylvan Scrying, I guess. Let's Pore over the pages again. We find Omniscience. Discard a Beseiju. We can Dark Petition. Let's go get another Hidden Strings. And now we'll Hidden Strings. Yes, yes, no. So I could Omniscience right now, but I'd be tapping out of mana. And with Lier, it says you can play spells from your graveyard. Okay. Well, Omniscience specifically says from hand. So in order to win with the Lier still, you would want to have some mana floating. That's my point here. And now we'll play the Omniscience. Play the Dragonlord Dramoka because I can. Can't tell me otherwise. Alright. And now we can... Did I mess up? I guess I did. I should have... Yeah, I messed up a little bit. That's okay. Full Impulse, which finds Emergent Ultimatum. I should have Bala Ged'd the Hidden Strings 1 more time. But I got lucky. I found Emergent Ultimatum. Everything's okay. Hidden Strings, Pore, and our opponent concedes. Sweet. Alright, we are now 2-1. 2 matches left to go. If you're still watching, make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. I'm pretty good at winning this die roll thing, huh? Alright, 4th match. Not very good at the drawing lands thing. We will mulligan. Okay, so we can afford to keep this. I'm going to bottom the Otawara because it doesn't make green mana. And we do have this Archdruid's Charm in our hand. Lead on the Botanical Sanctum, pass the turn. All of Storm Giants, okay, so likely Azorius Control. Could be Izzet Phoenix, but probably Azorius Control. We'll play the basic Forest and send it back. Opt, okay, maybe it's just Izzet Phoenix. I'm going to Impulse now. I'll take the third green source for my Archdruid's Charm, and it is Phoenix. There's the Shredder. We're going to main phase this charm to go get our Lotus Field. We don't want to risk it being countered. Grab the field. Enters play, we have to sacrifice 2. Alright, pass. Archdruid's Charm is so good. Let me tell you, I'm a big fan. Our opponent is going to attack for 1, sure. I go to 19. And they're passing, sweet. I could try to jam here. I'm just going to play it safe. I don't think we're in any danger at the moment, so just take my time. Don't slip up and lose to a Spell Pierce. They free the Fae. They pick up a Consider, and now while they're tapped out, I will copy my Lotus Field floating a mana, and then play Impulse. Let's pick up the Lier, Disciple of the Drowned. And then our next turn, I plan on starting to party. They play an island. They swing, so they drew a land for turn here. Sylvan Scrying. I mean, I'm still not under any pressure, so I think what I'm going to do here, if they're just going to leave open mana, is I'm just going to get another Thespian Stage and bully them with mana. It's kind of free to do. I'll make them think that I might have a Archdruid's Charm here, instead of just tapping a Lotus Field for no reason. And set the Galvanic Iteration. So that means that they're on the Time Walk build. The Temporal Mastery, is it called? I can't remember. Been a while. They get rid of a Phoenix off of the Shredder trigger. And then another Phoenix, okay. So they're highly incentivized this turn to play some spells to get back their Phoenixes. They play Stormcarved Coast, 7 cards in hand. They Treasure Cruise, leaving back 2 Arclight Phoenix in the graveyard. That's spell number 1 for the turn. They cast an Opt, that triggers the Ledger Shredder. They discard a Spirebluff Canal, the Opt can now resolve, and a Sleight of Hand. They've reached the appropriate storm count to get back their Phoenixes. And they skip their attack step on accident, but it's not going to matter. I'm going to win the game anyway. They discard a Lightning Axe. Well, we drew Omniscience. How about that? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Play the Omniscience. Pore over the pages. Untap our lands. Discard a temple. Dark Petition. Go grab an Emergent Ultimatum. We'll play the Ultimatum. Get Dark Petition, Fae of Wishes, and Pore over the pages. Sweet. Alright, game number 1 goes to us. Once again, you want to bring in Silence, and then the Dramoka. Board out a Boreal Grazer. Resubmit. Game number 2, our opponent has taken a mulligan. We are lacking a Lotus Field, but this hand seems fine enough to me. They lead on a Spirebluff Canal, pass the turn. We'll play a turn 1 Temple of Mystery. Scry. Another temple can go on the bottom. They play a land and pass, so they did not have a 1-drop on turn 1. We find another Hidden Strings. We'll just play a land and pass. No, free the Fae. Interesting. They play Steam Vents. We draw Silence. I'll just play a Stage. Pass the turn. And step the Prismari command. Discards a pair of Phoenix. That's scary. Sleight of Hand. They play a land on tap, so they're choosing to not do anything this turn. I'm going to copy my Botanical Sanctum. Gives me the 3rd green in case we draw an Archdruid's Charm. Instead, I just draw the Lotus Field. Perfect. Play the Lotus Field. And let's copy it. Pass. We're lacking a way to win the game right now, but next turn I have a draw step, I have a Vizier cycle, and I can even Bala Ged back the Vizier, so we have 3 looks at a card that's a payoff. Our opponent plays an Opt, puts a card on the bottom, and passes. And Archdruid's Charm is good enough. Okay, so let's start by casting Silence. The Galvanic Iteration, okay. And they're going to Spell Pierce. I'm going to cycle Vizier now. Then we'll target a Lotus Field. Draw a card. Another Silence. So instead of paying for the Spell Pierce, I'm just going to silence them again. Yeah, nice Mystical Dispute. Sure, a third Spell Pierce. Or I guess it's technically a second Spell Pierce. But it's done its job. We tap them out. That's all we were trying to do here. Okay, so now we can Hidden Strings, untap. Yes, yes, no. Alright, so let's just talk through some options here. So I can ARCHDRUID'S Charm, go get Lier. And then Lier would... Yeah, I think it's probably just Lier. Alright, go grab our Lier, Disciple of the Drowned. And now we can Hidden Strings. Yes, yes, no. We'll play the Sage User land for the turn. We'll Bala Ged Recovery, getting back the Hidden Strings. And then we'll make some more blue mana. Hidden Strings again. Yes, yes, no. And now we'll play the Lier. Alright, so we currently have 7 mana. We can ARCHDRUID'S Charm for Fae of Wishes. So it's actually granted. That's a 7 mana line. Okay. And then if we want to cast Emergent Ultimatum, that's another 7 mana. So we need 14 mana. Alright, so we have 7 here. Hidden Strings are each +4. So 7 plus 8 is 13. And Bala Ged Recovery in the middle is 14. So by my math, that's a win. So we'll start with Bala Ged Recovery. Get back Hidden Strings. Okay, now we'll untap. Yes, yes, no. Play the... Oh no, I've already played a land. My bad. Okay, so now I can... ARCHDRUID'S Charm. We'll go grab Fae of Wishes. Hidden Strings. Yes, yes, yes. And we'll Cypher onto the Lier. Blue mana, blue mana. Hidden Strings. Yes, yes, and yes. We'll tap for black. Tap for green. Fae of Wishes. And by Fae of Wishes, I mean granted. We'll go get the sideboard Emergent Ultimatum. And then play it. 2 blue mana floating. We'll do Omniscience. Pore over the pages. Dark Petition. And the opponent concedes. So now we're 3-1. 1 match left to go. With Card Hoarder, renting your favorite combo deck has never been easier. There isn't a more affordable solution for Magic Online. Want to play the deck in this video? Check out the pinned comment below to easily rent the deck from Card Hoarder. Did you know you can rent the Epic Storm from Card Hoarder for as little as 7 tickets a week? We've made it simple to do so by including a button to rent the entire deck at theepicstorm.com/decklist. The final round, and for once we lost a die roll. So I do have Temple of Mystery and Impulse to help find our Lotus Field, but I do have an ARCHDRUID'S Charm. We would need to find a third green source that isn't Otawara, but I think that this hand is just fine. Turn 1 Blood Crypt, so likely the Vampires deck. Turn 1 Duress. This is likely the Charm, but let's see what they take here. Wish I had a little bit of a faster hand if I was facing the Vampires deck. Kind of slow. We draw another Temple, we'll scry. Grazer is a great pickup here. Pass the turn. Blood Tithe Harvester, sure thing. We'll play the Temple of Mystery. Otawara can go on the bottom. We'll play the Arboreal Grazer, putting Botanical Sanctum onto the table. Pass. The attack I will happily block. Another Blood Tithe Harvester. We found the Thespian stage. Good deal. Play stage, pass the turn. We can get the Lotus Field on their end step. They discard a Fatal Push to draw a card. No land. So we'll take 6 here, going to 14. They discard another Fatal Push. Cavern of Souls. Yep. And on their end step, we will go get that Lotus Field. Triggers, we'll get rid of a pair of Temple of Mystery. And that's the ball game. Sweet. Play Otawara for turn. Let's tap for blue. Copy the Lotus Field. Actually, I don't even think we needed to draw the Hidden Strings. So I could have just played my land for turn, and that's 6 mana. And then we use Vizier, and then tapping the Thespian Sage for the colorless, and I believe that works. So you would have to tap Lotus Field for blue the first time. So you'd float blue, untap, tap for green. So that doesn't work. So if you... I think the colors actually don't work. That's the difference maker here. Is you have 7, but the colors just align, where you would have needed a good draw off of the Vizier. And now we'll cycle the Vizier, untap Lotus Field. We drew the Lair of the Hydra. Emergent Ultimatum. Good deal. We've taken game number 1 versus Vampires. We want Leyline of Sanctity. I mean, the question is like, I think that Arboreal Grazer is actually not bad. It stops their busted draws of just like turn 3, 6/5 Vampire. I'm going to board out 2 Grazers and then maybe 1 Impulse. Let's try this. I don't really like Voyaging Satyr in the matchup, and I don't think you want to bring in Zakama. Game number 2, and we've opened up a stellar hand. We have Leyline of Sanctity, we have turn 1 Arboreal Grazer, we have a stage, we also have Sylvan Scrying, so we have everything we want, including a Fae of Wishes to go get our sideboard copy of Emergent Ultimatum. Leyline will enter, basic Swamp, and Archdruid's Charm. That was a great draw for us. Play the stage, pass. So one of the few ways we could lose this game is by letting ourselves lose the Damping Sphere at the moment. So I'm wondering if maybe we should try to play this game a little bit more conservatively, but I also don't know if that's an option. And there's the Damping Sphere. That's fine. I'd rather they play it before I put a Lotus Field onto the table, so that's good news. Okay. Let's Sylvan Scrying. I just want an untapped green source here. I might actually grab the Breeding Pool. Let's do that. So I thought about grabbing Beseiju, but the thing is, I don't want to accelerate them. Our opponent mulliganed to 5. They're on low resources. Why would I want to give them a land? Boreal Grazer just holding down the fort. Breeding Pool will enter. Dark Petition was a fine draw. We can remove the Damping Sphere on their end step. A 3rd Mutavault from them. Hope you don't have anything in your hand that costs double black, or just red. Alright, so they're going to punch in for 2 damage. That's acceptable. We will block. Okay, on their end step, we will remove the Damping Sphere. Pour over the pages. I will just pass. Okay, so they play essentially an Elvish Visionary. I mean, it's a vampire, but you know what I mean. And they play another land. Still 3 cards in hand. On their end step, we'll go grab Lotus Field. Good deal. Sacrifice 2 lands, so the Bala Ged Recovery and the basic forest. Hidden Strings. Vizier's not bad, though. Alright, so let's start by, excuse me, cycling the Vizier. Untap Lotus Field. Another Vizier, okay. Just want to do some quick math here. So, we have 6 mana, this brings us up to 7. I think that works. Oh, but then you have to tap the stage, so I'm actually 1 short of the play I want to make. So I wanted to copy stage and then pour over the pages, but it's not an option. So we will pour over the pages now, floating 1 mana. And there's a Hidden Strings. Discard a land that would come into play tapped. We'll now copy the Lotus Field. So I played this game a little bit more slowly than I could have, than I needed to, but I wanted to make sure we didn't lose the Damping Sphere. And, well, it paid off. We got the 4-1, only losing to Amalia combo. My thoughts on the deck list. I'd run it back card for card, no changes. Losing to Amalia is something that happens in the format. Like, our opponent had a turn 3 game 1, and then in game 3 they had discard into a turn 4. So that happens. Sometimes you do just lose in the game of Magic the Gathering. You don't have to make a change every time. But I love this deck list. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear from you. But that's all I've got for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and have a great day. Keep storming. What you should do is like, comment, and subscribe, because there's no better way to support us. And if you enjoyed this video, head over to moxfield.com and follow us there. It's truly the best deck website on the internet. We update all of our decks there regularly with the latest and greatest technology, so you're always up to date. Once again, go check out Moxfield, and thank you for watching.